year. Lots of teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's exciting because they're in the finals and this and that. The circumstance is exciting, but
yeah,
legitimately the play style of Gigabyte Marines and Levi was so innovative and impressive that you couldn't help but love that team. And I think it's funny that so many people became fans of them in North America, despite how much damage they did to us. Over the course of those international competitions, they
really
ruined
knocking TSM.
They ruined our dreams. They hurt Immortals. But you know what? We don't care because
they're fun to watch.
And we got their jungler now. We stole him.
No other team is going to pick Mordekaiser or Nocturne. We need these guys. Let's see how they can do, though. Levi in the jungle on that Jax. Press the attack. Nothing too crazy there. Then Insanity Zoe going with the cleanse out the gate. Has the summoner spellbook to change things around. Demonte's Rise going to be telling the same story there. Yep. Or I'm going with the Ignite early on, too.
Yeah, not too surprising in matchups where you take the Unsealed Spellbook. You don't really need the teleport right away unless you think you're going to get harassed out a lot. So Ignite Ornn, as funny as it looks, not too surprising against the Maokai, who you should be good at fighting over early on. And then the mid lane, Ryze versus Zoe is a matchup we've seen a couple times, and it's not too bad for Ryze because he should have the push advantage, generally speaking, but you do have to be very careful because you are immobile. Now you don't have that extra little escape, so sometimes Zoe can find some angles for her paddle star. She chunks you out really hard, and then you start losing priority in that lane.
Yeah, neither of those two, they both got a lot of damage potential. They both got a lot of setup potential with the bubbles and the rune prisons, but sustain isn't really a story for either one of them, just because of the fact that it's not in their kit. So you end up taking a bad trade, you end up getting caught out by something that you would have really liked to sidestep, then you're going to be in a rough spot. Linsanity goes for the trouble bubble there, but the minion was still alive, so the hero minion blocks it, keeping Demonte safe.
Yeah, I wonder if he was trying to maybe go for like a dematerializer on it or something. I wasn't quite watching that closely. Sure. But yeah, either way, that's the thing. Sometimes Zoe just pressures the Ryze really hard, and he has to back off and respect it. And also, maybe he goes for the Catalyst for a little bit more sustain if he feels like he needs it. We'll have to see what Demonte chooses to do. Odd Orange, despite those amazing level 2 ganks we like talking about,
we're already past that point, Mark.
Yeah, the sad
level 2 gank at level 4.
The sad level 4 clear for Jarvan's. I mean, you can't say it's bad. Farming quickly is never bad, but it is not as exciting as the EQ's mid level 2 with red buff electrocute blowing somebody up.
That's so cheesy. I love it. It's the definition of jungle cheese. The Jarvan takes red and then just walks middle, and the other guy's level 1.
The best is when they push the wave level 1 too, and you do that, and then like they just can't walk up the rest of the laning phase.
Oh, it's a tragedy for the guy who gets hit by it. But the other nice part about being in competitive instead of solo queue, at least you don't have to listen to your mid laner ping you 500 times at that point to come help you because the Jarvan messed up your lane.
Depends on the team.
Okay, I guess that's true. That's true. Sometimes it's hard not to tilt at something like that. But going into this game, you mentioned it earlier, whichever one of these teams can win exits week 5 with a 500 win-loss record, which is pretty important when we're talking about playoff contention, when we're talking about getting into the postseason. Demonte and Insanity, 1-versus-1 here in the mid lane. Overload not quite finding the mark there. The junglers are busy fighting over the chickens.
Nope,
Levi really wants those chickens. The trouble bubble comes in, not finding its way on to Odd Orange, but here comes your follow-up, and Demonte says, I don't care what kind of star power you got, you're first blood.
Yeah, very nice coordinated invade by Echo Fox there. Levi getting kind of greedy for his Raptors. Was getting chunked out by the Raptors themselves. Gets dropped down to like 60% HP just from them. So it's an easy EQ and flash follow-up by Demonte there, punishing the Jax early on.
And this is different from what we saw from Levi at international events, as Wyan and Rikara looking to start off the 2v2 here in the bottom lane, getting the stun down onto Papa Chow. Fox backing themselves away now, but Levi at international events, the dude hits level 3, gets all 3 of his abilities, and immediately starts PvP.
Yeah, not quite as much this time. Sometimes he goes for that power farming clear, and that might have been the kind of thing where that miscommunication starts coming through. You saw Wyan wrapping around on the Alistar. Maybe he felt like his support had gotten there first, and they could bait a fight if he walked forward a little bit, but he just got exploded so quickly, it doesn't quite work out, and so looks real bad for him, but it could just be a miscommunication error there.
Well, it's a miscommunication error that cost them a 1,000 gold deficit only 6 minutes into the game, and set that Jax back a little bit in a way that you don't want to see him set behind. Kaizen pushing up in the top lane as well. Slight CS lead for himself, but considering his opponent's got plenty of minions to farm up here and can likely get most of them, that's not going to be true for long.
Nope, most likely not. Gonna be some even farming in the wet noodle fight top lane. that, you know, we thought the meta was moved on from this. We saw Jax versus Camille earlier in the day. We were popping off about how great and punishing the trades were, and now we're back to this.
Now we're back to the good old, hey, I'm going to hit you, but I'm mostly trying to hit these minions, and if you stand in the way, I guess you'll get hurt too, maybe.
Yeah, my W hit your W, and then we both sustained up.
It's okay. I blocked your W with a shield, and then you healed off by auto-attacking a minion when my W hit you. It's great.
Engaging.
That's what they'll be doing later. That's why we're farming up, so they can engage heavily into the team fights. We know Maokai's got the tools for that. We've seen Ornn hit a few of those big ultis as well. It'll just be about who manages to get the angle, who manages to be farmed up. But unlike those carry matchups that we've seen in the past, Mark, this isn't one of those situations where if one of these guys falls 30 CS behind or like dies twice or something, that he's really like, oh man, what am I supposed to do? This other guy's so far ahead. You're both still big meatballs, and you're both just going to keep spamming abilities on waves. So you're going to stay pretty much even and relevant throughout the entire thing.
And you see the team comps kind of reflect that. You know, no one's picking globals in this game, really. I mean, yes, the Rise has a semi-global, and Tahm Kench has a semi-global, but the game plan here is not get up to the top side and influence a carry versus carry matchup, or even a carry versus tank matchup like we saw in the last game where Talia and Galio are both running up to the top side or down to the bot lane. This time around, it's going to be a lot more focused on pickoffs in the jungle, which we already saw once. Rise can combo very well with Jarvan. They have probably one of the scariest pre-6 kill threats in the game, and it doesn't get much better for opponents at 6. Just the amount of guaranteed lockdown CC that those guys brings is pretty nuts. And then you also have bot lanes, which can be a little susceptible.
Yeah, I think the conversation around the level 6 points for these two junglers is an interesting one to have, because Jax's ultimate is a big ultimate in terms of a duel, in terms of a 1v1 threat, in terms of sustained damage. That thing's huge. But when you look at gank impact, there's no contest between his and Jarvan's.
No, absolutely not. And that's why Jarvan Rise, when they were both at the height of their power, you know, not too long ago, it was just a completely devastating combination. Level 3, level 2, Jarvan gets a knock-up, Rise combos with the root, and then you're just stuck in place getting messed up by those two for a long period of time. Then, like you said, 6 comes online, and Jarvan gets even stronger in the gank now. So it's one of those combinations which is very powerful.
Now, I want to point out right now, Odd Orange is not having any of this pure tank jungling that we have seen so far in
I got a Tahm Kench. I got an Ornn.
Yup, he's ready to go. He's saying, look, I'm not worrying about your Cinder Hulk into Trinity Force. I'm not even worrying about your Cinder Hulk. All I want is this Warrior that's going to be a lot of damage from this J4. Usually when they go for this build, you're going to see Warrior into Black Cleaver or something of the like, so very big damage threat, but the issue with it is, if it falls behind, ooh, it's not pretty.
No, and it's a game where there are a fair amount of tanks on the enemy team, so your ability to just blow somebody up is not that high, but if you can get onto Linsanity or Rakara, you can mess those two up. Obviously, the tank is not going to be too fun, and Jax will eventually just live through your burst damage and outtrade you afterwards, I believe, so not sure it'll work out that well for him in the 1v1 in the jungle.
Lost and Papa Chow keep constantly trying to make these moves happen in bottom lane, and I like that. They're looking to force the issue onto Wyan and Rakara, trying to get Wyan to blow everything, disengaging this, but right now, it's still a very even contest between those two. You can see about a 20 CS lead in mid lane for Demonte over Linsanity now as well. Farm lead in the jungle, despite his early death, going the way of Levi here. The dagger in his inventory leads me to believe that he is going to go for that Trinity Force we were hoping for.
Yep, you would expect so, especially with the press the attack. Gonna grab that one up. And then I think the thing that's interesting is just how exactly the Jarvan matches up versus Jax in that regard. Like you said, Jarvan's one of the slower farming junglers in the current meta, which is why he's probably fallen off a little bit compared to some of the other ones. And then traditionally you often see, in competitive play at least, you do see that Cinder Hulk one. So you think, oh yeah, he'd get destroyed by the Jax. But now that he's a little bit further ahead and he's built Warrior, at what point does the Jax start taking over that matchup?
Well, as neither of those champions are Skarner, I am not well versed in exactly how they match up specifically in terms of exact power points, so we're going to have to find out when that changes. But Sleepy Trouble Bubbles landing always make things difficult. Tahm Kench, a great pick against Zoe. Has to use the flash there, but being able to save whoever falls asleep is so critical at stopping those near one-shot levels of damage.
Yeah, great Tahm Kench pickup, which we didn't really touch on thus far, but it is fantastic into that Zoe pickup, able to save, like you said, whoever gets sleep on. It's also not too bad into Sivir comps in general, where either Maokai or Wyan are going to be trying to find one target to kind of engage on with that W, with that Headbutt Pulverize combo, and Tahm Kench can help out whoever that is.
Linsanity currently rocking a free flash. So if you randomly see Zoe flash in the next 20 seconds or so, he's not using his real one. Oh my gosh, he actually flashed. Demonte in some trouble. Gets himself back, drops the root. Odd Orange hanging around, knows that Zoe's still got some abilities left to cast, so doesn't want to go in, understandably so. That's the thing too, when you're Warrior Jarvan, Zoe can legit just one-hit you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Bottom side, Wyan starting this fight off, going for Papa Chow. The one person Tom Kench can't save is Tom Kench, and that is being displayed right now as they collapse and punish. Papa Chow goes down. Zoe grabbing the kill.
Nice collapse there as, whoa!
Ooh!
Lost threading the needle.
Lost sneaks in there, grabs that kill for himself.
Riv's gonna be happy about that one. Someone clip that and send it to him. Good cleanup kill, and it punishes the roam that went on down there. It allows the mid lane and jungler to get some damage down on that turret, trying to eke out these micro advantages. Now, Echo Fox up to a 2K gold lead.
Echo Fox looking good against 100 Thieves Academy. You know what, Mark? All right, hold on. We'll talk about it after this replay. Let's take another look how this happened.
Yeah, Darth Tom Kench the Wise could save others, but could not save himself.
Is this a story that the LCS would tell you?
It's not what other supports would tell. I don't know where we're going. Anyways, Tom Kench dies. Wyan uses that to stay alive. It looks like they saved him. Levi feeling good about it. Riccara feeling good about it. They start backing off and don't quite body block the follow-up by Loss, who flashes forward. Great play out of him.
Good performance from Echo Fox Academy so far here. And you know, I actually played against 100 Thieves Academy the other day as well. Me and Azael queued up on Howling Abyss. Played against the team in an ARAM.
Ah, how'd that go?
Their Nexus blew up, not ours. So it was a pretty good day on the old Howling Abyss.
So are you predicting Echo Fox Academy to win this game then?
Well, the thing is, we played against the 100 Thieves Academy that didn't have Levi. So there's also not a jungle on Howling Abyss, so I'm not exactly sure how that would have impacted the map overall. There's a bush on the left side, though. That's close enough.
Levi and ARAM just stands there all game.
Just sits in the bush. But we'll have to see if 100 Thieves Academy can take down this Echo Fox squad that's built themselves an early game lead. With Zoe damage like that, you've always got a distinct possibility. DeMonte really having to be careful about those tricky bubbles over the wall. The last time we saw Zoe earlier on in the day when Golden Glue was playing it, you mentioned, Mark, how this champion is so difficult to move up against because of a lack of perfect vision, meaning it's so easy to get one shot, but Insanity now taken down by Alorum, who comes up to bellows breath into the auto attack.
Bit of a split fight there on the side of 100 Thieves Academy. They were getting into a river skirmish, and at the same time, Alorum had taken that advantage he had built in the top lane and roamed mid. And then Linsanity got a little greedy with his flash, I think it's fair to say, that he goes and tries to flash under his turret and into the 2v1, as opposed to flashing down and away from that and going towards the rest of his team. So, bit of a mistake there. Hopefully we can see a replay and look at the other options he could have gone for. But off the back of that, Fox are going to take their second Infernal Drake of the game. And not only do they have a gold lead now, but they have a massive scaling advantage.
Infernal number 2, 2,000 gold. Infernal number 3 spawning next. So if you can preserve this momentum for 6 more minutes, that's another reward.
That's a big advantage then. And uh-oh, Levi's gone out.
Oh no, Levi hop, skip, and a jump. Over the wall he goes. Has to flash, though, to get over the second wall.
Cute angle, too, to get out of there. Someone coming up the river ends up going into the pit and then flashing back out. So he's able to keep himself alive, but losing that flash does hurt. A nice advantage. And now, no turrets down yet this game. Looks like this first one getting low mid.
Insanity will do everything he can to try to protect this one. Levi losing that flash means some of the engage potential of the Jax, being able to flash forward and get the Counter-Strike stun, is gone. So you still have your Maokai, you still have your Alistar to go engage, maybe even a Zoe bubble to get things started off, but the Jack's going to be a little bit on the back foot for the next few minutes.
Alorum making another roam down onto Insanity.
Wants to go after this Zoe. Remember, Zoe doesn't have true mobility. She has pseudo-mobility in the ulti, but now Papa Chow, the man getting himself jumped onto the bottom lane yet again. Go for the guy who can't save himself. Levi grabs the kill.
And looks like the skirmish mid lane still going on.
The damage onto DeMonte is pretty strong. Insanity having to flash away to keep himself safe here. Odd Orange backing out. That's a fake flash, by the way. His real flash is still halfway on cooldown. He used the flash that he picked up from Odd Orange.
Yeah, right, that was the flash, his own flash he lost in that previous attempt in the mid lane that happened when he went down. Alorum's doing a good job of getting this push off in the mid lane, or top lane, excuse me, and then roaming down to the mid lane. But they got a little gun shy on that play. I'm not sure if they didn't know where Levi was, because it felt like they could have gone, but they back out, and then Levi shows in the bot lane where he's going to engage on Papa Chow again. Once again, kind of picking on that Tom Kench, finding kills where he can, which is important as the Jax to get him onto himself. This trade comes in. Odd Orange a little bit too early with that EQ combo. The Zoe had not quite popped back over the wall yet, so he does not get the punish on the EQ, and Zoe's able to get out of there, but very scary for a second there.
Game's still equalizing itself around that 2,000 gold mark. The team's sort of hitting that point of equilibrium where nobody's able to really catch the other side off guard just yet, nothing translating into a big lead. The Jax closing in on that Trinity Force power spike. Levi there getting closer and closer to having some of that carry potential. Black Cleaver also being approached now by Odd Orange. More damage, more burst potential. But it's all about, like you said, Mark, catching the right guy out. You pretty much got 2 targets. You've got Linsanity and you got Riccara that's viable on. You're not looking to do that to a Maokai. You're not looking to do that to an Alistar.
Nope. But, like we said, the Jarvan is a great pick into both those backliners. While he is a little squishier with the Warrior build, and you have to be a little concerned about that, Ricard does not have a way out of the Cataclysm, and Zoe, with that pseudo-mobility, does not have a way out of the Cataclysm. So you need to be careful.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble, damage on Damonte there. Papa Chow, third time is the charm again. Bottom lane, the play is being made, but now it's 100 Thieves Academy that have put themselves a little bit far forward here. Damage continues coming out. Wyan body blocking for Levi, has to pop the ulti to keep himself alive. Echo Fox Academy doing a good job, 2 versus 3.
Getting a little over-aggressive there. The Summoners were back up on the side of Echo Fox, so it's fine to re-gank it and attempt to force those, but then Wyan flash forward for the auto attack onto Lost, which does not really result in very much for them. The Tom Kench split focus not working out for it.
Push continues from Echo Fox here in the mid lane, looking to take this one down. The turret barely hanging on to any sort of signs of life. Grabbing that gives turret first blood and the bonus gold that goes with it over to the side of Fox, bringing that gold lead up to a little bit over 3K.
They made sure all of it went onto Damonte as well. He's getting to the point where he's a little terrifying. Now that he got that first blood kill, now he's got this going on for him. Already had his Raw the Ages stacking. Finish off. Gonna get that Seraphs pretty soon, you have to imagine, when it transforms, and beginning to work on his next item. We'll have to see what that turns into. Most likely a Zanya still, despite the nerfs that came in. Still a great item to have in general.
Now, top side, the wet noodle fight has continued along its expected trajectory. Both these guys very similar in terms of where they're standing, in terms of their itemization. They've started off with Abyssal Masks, going into Glacial Shroud items next, likely looking towards those Iceborne Gauntlets. It's actually a Righteous Glory for the Maokai.
That's what I was going to look out for, is if he ends up going for the Righteous Glory. I feel like you might have been able to go with a greedier build, given that you do have the Sivir already to speed up the engages. And if you want another Righteous Glory, maybe you just leave that for Cow to pick up, and you can go for Sunfire or something to help you in the side lane a little bit more. Potentially a small advantage they could have looked for with their builds.
But it will give him more ability to pull the trigger on his own. Insanity, though, the one who could be in some real trouble right now, bursted down, no chance to retaliate. Kaizen moves in, trying to keep his teammates safe, but instead puts himself in a precarious spot, having to pop his own flash just to get out.
Really like the coordination we've seen thus far out of Echo Fox Academy this game. Always feels like they're on the same page with their engages. Alarin in particular, very impressive with his roams, but Damonte and Auto Orange also feel like they have a great game plan. Pick off the enemy mid laner right before the third Infernal Dragon spawns. They pick this one up, no more will spawn the rest of the game.
Can they do it? The enemy support, no ulti. Wyan not having that means this fight is next to impossible. Only way to take this Drake is for Levi to be the noble sacrifice, run in there, smite, steal it away. He has the flash to get back out over the wall. I'm expecting him to go in, make an attempt on this one, and he got it!
And smooth as hell, too. Jumps in, smite, flash out before the enemy team can react at all.
That is so big to get that for your team. What you're comparing, the difference in the comparison of those bonus stats is now you have 8% less than your opponent. They have 16 and you have 8 in terms of the bonus. It would have been 0 to 24.
And unrecoverable in that position, because if a team gets 3 of a dragon type, no more
There can't be any more.
Right,
Yeah.
so this means if the dragons keep getting taken at this rate, the next one is a mountain dragon, but if they take that one down, perhaps the third, or the fourth, the fifth,
The
fifth and final dragon that would spawn this game could be another mountain, or infernal. As I blabber on, someone gets picked off.
That was a great bait from Echo Fox. They're saying, we know they're going to show up to this, sit inside the brush, wait for them to approach, and insta-give somebody. And they do just that, grabbing the kill onto Wyan. Insanity tried to check the brush with the Paddle Star, but it was not fast enough.
Not fast enough. No blue trinkets available, I believe, so they kind of had to run up and check that one. They do lose the kill for it, but there's enough minion waves crashing in the side lanes now. Warren is deciding it's not really worth the debate again. So 100 Thieves is going to go in here and get some vision control, see that they don't need to worry about it. Warren showing in the bot lane, Ezreal on the top side, so they're all good. Taking a look at this play, how smooth this was. Jump in, smite, flash out before the enemy team even knew it hit him.
You can't do it any better than that.
Smooth criminal.
That's impressive. That was very well played from Levi. That's exactly what you want to see from your jungler there. Trinity Force now completed onto him as well. Means he's going to be a very strong duelist and a capable backline threat. This was the conversation that we had around Moon's Jax in one of the previous matches, was the fact that because he went full tank, he's not a real damage threat onto the enemy AD carry, even if he gets to him, because it's just like, okay, he's going to hit me for 100 damage, and then what does he do? So now that Levi has this item, he's very, very threatening. Even though he's 1-1-1, it's important to kind of check up on him and what we're expecting of him and the questions that we asked of him. What's he going to do with this new team? What's he going to do with this new region, especially where communication is an issue? Because his English-speaking abilities are limited right now.
Yeah, and it's a harder team comp to execute in as Insanity just has that free Ignite to throw at him. It's a harder team comp to play in. Before, when you had the Taric and the Jax, and the Galio is kind of like, put your stuff on me. This might be a solo kill here.
No.
Gets the cleanse out.
Cleanse will keep it okay. I think that 100% is a solo kill if the cleanse isn't.
Yeah, so Demonte feels that pressure, ends up doing that. Now Tom Kench wants to make a play happen on that top side. Ult's up there as Levi looked like he was threatening. Both teams disengaged from that situation, but there's no backup here for Levi. He can't just jump in and expect him not to instantly die. You saw how tanky the other Jax was just with the Galio ultimate and some Taric shields on top of him. No defensive steroids for the Jax here, as well as not building a tanky himself. He cannot be the primary initiator in this game. He needs to let the Maokai and Alistar start things out, wait for some cooldowns before picking the right time to go in.
Fortunately for him, that's exactly what those two champions want to do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, getting in the mix, starting things off with that big chain CC is going to be huge for both these guys. Aftershock on them as well means that much more damage resistance. They should have no qualms whatsoever about making sure they're in there before the Jax is. On the other side of the map, though, the Jarvan's still very squishy. 0, 0, and 2 for him. So both junglers have 2 kill participation. The difference is Echo Fox has managed to make 3 other kills happen without that jungler. 5-2 the score, 4,000 the gold lead, 2 Infernals to 1. Echo Fox would have liked that to be 3-0, but remember Levi with that clutch steal managed to keep his team afloat in that neutral objective game. Baron's been live for 5 minutes, but neither team has really tried to sneak it away or do anything crazy with it outside of that one bait for a single kill that we saw from Echo Fox. But I've got eyes on this Ryze right now, Mark, because he's got the highest farm in the game. He's got 3 kills under his belt. He's got a fully stacked Rod of Ages. Demonte is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the next fight.
Absolutely. He's going to be terrifying, as well as even in the split push now. Who can really deal with a Ryze doing that amount of damage right now? It doesn't feel like Zoe wants to be up there in particular. If she can land the paddle stars, great. She can chunk him out and force him back. But just straight dueling and fighting, she doesn't want any piece of him. As you see, even Levi getting messed up pretty hard.
Levi just lost 80% of his health.
Yeah, 2 combos real quick.
Yeah, QWEQ or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what the Ryze skill order is, but that was a lot of damage. And the thing is, Jax's Counter-Strike, you dodge all auto attacks and you reduce AoE damage. Ryze doesn't care about either of those things.
Nope, absolutely not. Second turn of the game dropping here past 25 minutes, which is a pretty slow game, all things considered, even in the current meta. But it's really good for Fox to start getting better control. They need to break that top lane turret so that it's easier to push that vision advantage. You can see how, despite having the mid lane control, if you look really closely, they have this nice kind of line going up around the jungle of that part, but then it instantly goes over to the side of 100 Thieves Academy once you get close to that blue buff. Because that top turret is still up, they have that extra safety to kind of get that vision in their advantage. I know Demonte's got chunked out. I'm talking about vision over here, guys. Come on!
Well, the lack of vision underneath the enemy turret meant that Zoe was able to hit Ryze for 75% of his health with Battlestar, so not exactly the spot that Demonte wanted to find himself in. We'll have to be forced back off of that one, but Odd Orange makes the rotation towards the top side to clear this wave out, keep the turret alive. Demonte backing in the nearby brush, just in case they decided to maybe make a dive for Odd Orange. Go for a bubble into a Battlestar onto that one. He was going to be there for the backup. Mountain Drake live. You mentioned how this could either be the second to last Drake or it could be the last Drake. Remember, 29 minutes is the mark for that because Dragon takes 6 minutes to respawn. Anything 35 minutes or after will be an Elder. So as long as you kill a Drake before 29 minutes, there will be another Elemental one spawning.
And there's a bit of a weird setup here for 100 Thieves Academy. They had Levi up in the top side playing around that Zoe as that Dragon spawns, and Echo Fox not really reacting well to that and trying to force that Dragon down quickly. Lost mid control for a second, and now that gank's gonna happen.
Demonte tries to get himself away, gets out, doesn't even need to have a Zhonya's effect to do it, but now the TP comes in and Echo Fox will blow the horn, and here comes Ornn. Can they get the follow-up they need? Linsanity taken down to about half HP. Remember, he's got the ulti, but no true escape mechanism beside his flash. Echo Fox forces their opponents away, but don't really have a big advantage right now. Linsanity's still at 2/3 HP, that's enough to work with. Finds the Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto the Ryze, but the minion wave walking up means Battlestar can't follow it up.
Good force on the side of 100 Thieves, all things considered, to stall this game out. You get a lot of global cooldowns out from the side of Echo Fox, so you don't get pulled across the map quite as hard as you might otherwise. They do lose their own, but at this point, you're fine kind of dealing with that pressure. You might have been able to find a kill, enemy team reacted well, everyone disengages, and you're still in the same spot you were before.
Neither team wants to be the one that makes the mistake here so many times. We've even seen it a couple times already today, Mark. It's not the team that makes the big play and gets themselves ahead. It's the team that makes the big throw and ends up giving their opponents an advantage. And neither one of these teams feels like they're in a spot where they want to do something crazy or do something risky. It's all about just playing the waiting game.
Yep, absolutely. You can tell that teams in the Academy still struggle to close out games 100% cleanly for the most part. Either missing a thing or two when they go for the Baron, or just picking the wrong fight near it can be absolutely disastrous. Here, Fox trying to find a pick off onto Levi.
All right, there comes your Ornn ulti. Rise also going to use the portal to get the rest of the guys in there, but now a multi-man stun from Levi to start off the fight, but a near instant kill onto Levi. Now they'll take him down. What else can they find here? Aloran popping the hourglass for himself to stay alive in the back line, but only for a moment. He will be taken down now. 1 versus 4, not the kind of number you walk away from. 1 for 2 overall as Papa Chow also died early on in the fight.
Really well played by the side of 100 Thieves, but just a little too fast on the trigger by Levi there. He jumps in for the 4-man stun, and I believe it was Lost he chunked out really hard, and there's no minion wave, so Lost had to run through the turret to get out of there, but the side of 100 Thieves was still busy dealing with that Tahm Kench that they got caught out of position. Then Aloran was the one who kind of turned off to protect the rest of the team so that they could run out through that turret. Still a 1 for 2. They also grabbed the mid lane turret. It was great for them as Levi sniffed it out, knew it was a bait, jumps away from the Rise ultimate, still gets hit up by the Ornn, but he's safe at this point. And now the sleep has hit Tahm Kench. He gets blown up. The 4-man stun was great. He also has the stopwatch to keep himself alive. Lost gets chunked out really hard into that turret, so he has to run out. And this fight is won. But you have to think they might have been able to win it even harder if Levi just waited a little bit longer before re-engaging with the rest of his team.
And that's what we were talking about with Levi. One of the things about him coming to North America, communication is going to be one of the biggest hurdles that he faces as a player. It's going to be something that gets better with time, but in his immediate games, it could be something where you see things look like they're not on the same page, miscoordination.
Yeah, another player that came over that doesn't speak a ton of English. There's been a couple of them. Someday as an example, Piglet as an example, when they first came over, did not speak a ton of English, and it made it difficult for them to synergize right away with their team. Might be seeing a similar case here with Levi.
Lion trying to engage. They got the Sivir ult there down as well. Stun up, damage out. Odd Orange getting himself deleted. The Guardian Angel will bring him back to life, but now can they find anything else here in this fight? A rampage for Damonte onto the enemy support's a nice way to start it off. Damonte getting himself into that stasis, keeping himself safe. Pops the ulti here as well, but Linsanity grabs the kill onto Lost. A double kill for Damonte, picking up the kill onto Kaizen. It's a 2 for 1. Echo Fox walking away with this one so far. Paddlestar not getting a whole lot of payoff there.
Still need to be careful, even though they did win the fight, or excuse me, lose the fight. The enemy team can go for Baron, so they're not safe to back off. They have to continue pressuring around here and make sure they don't take this for free. They have Zoe and Sivir still up, so it's pretty difficult.
Put the Drowsy onto the Ornn, but he's instantly gobbled up. Papa Chow getting him away to safety, but they stop the Baron. That's what matters.
Yep, it was a bit of a touch-and-go situation. They get out, and with that, they actually got the mid-wave pushing for them as well, so they might actually trade up with an objective after that fight. Not bad at all, considering how it lost them their top and support.
Yeah, all in all, you'll take that any day of the week. When you lose the fight, have to hang around just to stop Baron, but you still get a tier 2. Let's take a look at how it happened.
It felt like they were being a little too cautious here. You see the double Righteous Glory. Really got to wonder how effective that is, but Lost gets out with the help of the Tahm Kench. They focus down the GA, having Jarvan, and then the counter engage comes in from Ornn, who is flanked around the backside. Damonte's still a monster. No one feels confident or comfortable finishing him off. Lost took the Ignite on him and kind of got close to his tanks, which ended up losing them, as they take a Baron after all that.
Meanwhile, back at live.
Yeah, heyo. Anyways, I was saying Lost got T4, took some ricochet damage, died to the final ticks of Ignite. But it seems like 100 Thieves got a little lax after they finished off that mid lane turret. Echo Fox gets that Baron for free.
Baron for free. They've got the tempo of the game. They've got a 6,000 gold lead. What do you do with it now is the question. You've got a massive Rise that's one item away from being completely done with his... Oh, wait, no, he's not. He's actually got everything. Never mind. I stand corrected. I didn't see the fact that it was actually an Archangel staff that was on cooldown.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a broken stopwatch or something. No, that's a full build Rise at 34 minutes.
That is a real big boy.
That's a strong dude. So, considering you've got this massive Rise that is just... I guess he still has to complete his Masterwork Zhonya's Hourglass.
Of course.
That's the final upgrade there. That's what I was talking about. Still had an item to complete, but... This is the scariest player on Summoner's Rift in this game right now, and playing around him properly, I think, is imperative for Echo Fox to get the most out of this Baron.
Right. They have a good comp to deal with 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves, of course, like we said, with that Zoe pick, can always find a pick off if someone's out of position and gets a little too careless around walls. Someone can always go down, but if you're just fighting straight 5v5s, both comps execute pretty similarly with big, tanky frontliners and strong backline damage threats, and Rise will destroy the enemy team's tanks right now. Like you said, full build Rise versus 2.5 item Maokai. How do you think he's going to stack up?
Yeah, granted, 1.5 of those items are magic resist, but it's full build Rise.
Yeah.
So
So you see Kaizen. Oh my god, the auto attacks destroyed that turret.
Yep, AP ratios on auto attacks. As the reinforcements come in, Damonte trying to get himself away. This is one of those situations. The old interaction would be useful with the Zonias. Levi grabbing the kill onto Papa Chow, who has to be the sacrificial lamb or toad or catfish or whatever Tom Kench is. But if that was the old ult interaction, Damonte's out of there for free.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to collapse. You wouldn't need to save him. It's very easy to escape, and it's not the case anymore. Surprised that didn't work out better for Echo Fox. He had the Tom Kench to collapse in, the rest of the team following him behind. But looks like they're focused more on disengaging. So all things considered, pretty successful play by 100 Thieves, stalling out this Baron buff now. They actually haven't lost a turret with it, I believe. Bot lane turret got really low. But felt like Damonte was maybe a little too careful around it.
Damonte now still 5-0. Highest farm in the game by 8, up over the Sivir of Rakara, who's getting close to that full build point himself. Still has one more item to go, so the 5 kills doing work there for your Rise. And Insanity collecting the enemy blue buff for himself on this Zoe. Honestly, he's only got an item left to go too. And Zoe, once he has full build, if he can hit a max range Paddle Star onto an Ezreal, that is a one-shot.
Yeah, he's gonna go bye-bye. As of right now, as we see the ult come in, actually.
All right, full engage. Coming out from 100 Thieves, Odd Orange. There's that risky build we're talking about. When you go for so much damage, when you go for this bruiser style, it can come back and bite you if you fall behind the curve of the game. And as someone who's playing a jungler in an LCS competitive style format, Academy League, trying to mirror the LCS, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Still a competitive 5s format. You're not going to be able to just take all the farm and be this huge carry threat of your own. Trouble bubble down onto the Ornn, pushing into the mid lane. Inhibitor turret goes down. 100 Thieves Academy taking everything they can. Give these guys an inch, they're going to grab a mile. Pushing onto the Nexus turrets themselves now. Still 15 seconds on the Odd Orange.
This is a little aggressive here. Would like to see them back off after finding, all things considered, a great look to steal the mid lane turret.
Ornn gets 2 with the second part of the ulti. Wakara eating the True Shot Barrage there, a little bit of extra damage onto him, but the disengage works out. Nobody dies.
Yeah, give up another Baron buff if that's going to be the outcome. They get an inhib for that. Is the net result. 100 Thieves found a good look onto Echo Fox a couple different times. They were using the Sivir ultimate to get around the map and find the pickoffs, but Echo Fox could play that a lot safer and not actually be losing those kills. And you see the benefit of those trade-ups that they made in the mid lane. The fact that those 2 turrets were already down meant they only had to get through 1 more to actually take the inhibitor for 100 Thieves there.
100 Thieves, even though they're behind, they're still finding ways to make plays. And for me, that's a really good sign for any of these teams. You mentioned earlier, Mark, how in Academy League or in any of these semi-pro style leagues where you're looking to make that last step up to the biggest competitive stages, one of the greatest challenges a lot of the teams face is learning to close the game, learning how to take a winning game and turn that into a won game. And those kinds of things right there are what I want to see from a team right now. Pulling the trigger yet again onto Papa Chow. He can't save himself, but sometimes he may not even need to if they can find the counterattack. Instead, he's going to be burned down. Odd Orange taken low here as well. Kaizen will fall to loss. The re-engage from the Odd Orange finds its way onto Wyan, as now the Rise Express going to be bringing everybody downtown. Levi barely getting himself away. You can't say the same thing for Rakara, as now Insanity cannot make enough portals to get out of that one. And Echo Fox Academy, with 4 enemy players dead, will push into the base. They've got 1 minion, Mark. If they protect it, if they don't let it take the turret aggro, they can send the Ornn in there and just look to end the game.
Might be able to. They also don't have a wave too far behind, maybe 15 seconds out.
Okay, Levi did exactly what he had to do. He assassinated the VIP. He killed the minion and got rid of the backdoor penetration that thing provides to the turrets. However,
here comes
you
the other
still got to
wave.
deal with the rest of the minions. He killed the VIP, but now there's 6 more VIPs. And Echo Fox Academy finding themselves in a spot where they can take down 100 Thieves and make Levi's debut less stellar than possible, get themselves that 500 record after the end of week 5. Looking good going into the second half of the split.